Okay, am I back yet? Hello? Hello?
Yep, you're back.
Hello.
Yes? Oh, yeah, this is definitely time to change service providers. Maybe I'll try and cut this all back together with some creative editing.
You could just record your own opinion sometimes, like just talk by yourself and then insert it in. Be like, that's a good point, Ross.
Or that's a terrible point, Ross.
Yeah,
How could you be so stupid?
Yeah.
Welcome to Screens of the Stone Age, the podcast where scientists review movies about prehistoric people. My name is Josh Lindell. I'm a grad student studying Neanderthal teeth, and I'm here with...
I'm Dr. Kimberly Plump. I'm a bioarchaeologist. I study the human skeleton, health and disease, and evolution.
And I'm Dr. Ross Barnett, a paleogeneticist interested in the evolution of the felids and Pleistocene extinctions.
And today we are reviewing a movie called 1 Million B.C., which might sound familiar since we covered a movie called 1 Million Years B.C. quite a long time ago, which is a very famous movie which stars Ray Harryhausen's dinosaur animations and Raquel Welch in a fur bikini. This movie is actually the original. I guess probably not a lot of people know that the 1966 movie is a remake, which is interesting because we can trace so many of our caveman tropes to that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But as it turns out, that movie is a pretty faithful retelling of this 1940 movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We're going to hit all exactly the same beats as when we covered that one, I guess, because it's pretty much the same movie. But who wants to summarize this movie for us?
I could do
I
it.
don't know who summarized the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, I can do it. Though it will be pretty much a repeat of the 1 million years BC one. But just, I mean, before I start, I mean, this film is so 1940s. I mean, even the title, like it's called 1 million BC, but the title that I saw on the screen was Man and His Mate, which is an alternative title. But that just screamed 1940s to me. And, you know, I imagine it was pretty risque for the time. You've got people in above the knee skirts and shorts and bare chests of the men, of course, not of the women. But yeah, it's interesting and very much a kind of time capsule, I think, of the kind of ethics of the time, possibly. I mean, I think this is something that we could maybe dig into later on, but about how I think a lot of these prehistoric films, they in the same way that sci-fi is about projecting our kind of problems into the future, I think a lot of the prehistoric films are about projecting our ideas about culture into the past, which is maybe worth exploring. Anyway, so we start off 1 million BC. This has got Victor Mature in it, and I don't think I've ever seen a film with Victor Mature in it, though I know his name. He gets parodied in The Simpsons quite a bit. I often confuse him with Doug McClure, who's in the Land That Time Forgot, I think. But I've had a quote from Victor Mature in my head for the past 20 years, just sort of living rent-free, which was just a really funny quote, which I actually was reminded of in reading up on this film, which is that apparently at one point he wanted to join a golf club, which had a very strict admissions policy, and they said to him, "I'm sorry, Mr. Mature, you can't join our golf club because you're an actor." And he gave the great reply, which is, "I am not an actor, and I have 60 films to prove it." Which is just fantastic levels of self-knowledge on display there, because he is not really an actor, but he's in this film. Anyway, so we start off, it's very much set in the kind of the past, like Hollywood past, which is you've got dinosaurs, you've got woolly mammoths, you've got everything that's extinct running around at the same time. Except here you've got the added advantage that the cutting-edge special effects are gluing bits of rubber onto iguanas, gluing bits of rubber onto gators or caimans, sticking fur onto elephants, and all that kind of stuff. And it works. I mean, I find it, really cheesy, but it was great. It's just nice to see that old-style kind of special effects. Anyway, so we open on a sort of stormy, we officially open after the credits have rolled, on a stormy hillside with a whole bunch of alpine mountain climbers. I'm guessing they're alpine, although they speak in perfect kind of American accents. They're
American
all dressed
English,
up like lederhosen wearing Oktoberfest patrons. climbing
I
this.
said they look like the guy on the Ricola label.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all wearing, I think, dirndl is that the official term for that kind of lederhosen. Anyway, they don't look like modern mountain climbers, but they're getting stormed off, and so they go into a cave to shelter, which is nice and warm and clearly a Hollywood backlot with lots of polystyrene walls. And one of the guys explores a bit further and happens upon a guy sitting at a desk wearing a suit, who also speaks perfect English. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Why is there a guy sitting
And
at a
with
desk?
crazy eyes.
Oh, crazy eyes,
Crazy
yeah.
eyes.
Sitting at a
Yeah.
desk in the middle of a cave in a storm in the Alps. And this doesn't get explained. It's the most natural thing in the world.
Yeah.
He doesn't explain who he is. The guy doesn't even ask.
Or what he's doing.
Yeah, but they have a very intense conversation because they're in a cave with cave art on the walls. And again, it's Hollywood cave art. It's not really, I mean, it would have to be kind of post-Neolithic in terms of the kind of symbolism and kind of stylizations that are there. And the dude at the desk, he's studying them apparently, and he's happy to tell these lost cavers about the story that he's translated from the cave art it looks like it's on 2 walls, and yet somehow we get an hour and a half story out of it. He has translated it, and they have some really, I mean, there are some quite nice lines in here. So the desk guy says, "Intelligence is inherent. Civilization and culture are acquired," which is, fairly profound, I think, for this kind of film. And he says that on the wall is a story where there's a boy from the rock tribe who may look like, and he points at Victor Mature, who's one of the alpine climbers. This is a trope that we've seen a few times, I think, where the modern day people, they use the same actors for the prehistoric people that they're talking about. And then he also points to a girl who says there's also a girl from the Shell tribe, and he points to one of the other alpinists who is, she's quite a famous actress. What's her name?
Carol Landis.
Carol Landis, that's right. And so she is the other main character. And then it kind of fades away back to the past, to a time when before nature had learned to fear man. And you see some cool mammoths, and it calls them mastodons, but they're cows with big fake horns kind of plastered on the top. And we meet Victor Mature, who's now a cave person. He's got wild, for the 1940s, unbrill-creamed hair. He's got various kind of bits of fur hanging off him to show his impressive physique. And he is Tumak, son of Akoba. And these guys have spears, though interestingly at the beginning, these spears are just sticks. They don't have stone points on them. They do have dogs, which is something we don't often see in the prehistoric films. The idea that prehistoric people after 30, 20, 15,000, I mean, the numbers are quite a wide range in terms of when we actually domesticated dogs. But, definitely by the end of the Pleistocene, people had domesticated dogs that they would have used as hunting animals, companion animals, food when the occasion rose, etc. We join them, of course, on a hunt. So these are the rock tribe. They live by might is right. They're not pleasant. They're fighters, not lovers, and they're all about the hunting. And they're off to hunt a triceratops, which initially looks like
baby triceratops.
Yeah, initially it looks kind of like adult triceratops size, but then when Victor Mature jumps on the rubber version, it's like about the size of a chihuahua. It's absolutely tiny.
Yeah. I almost turned it off because I was like, you just killed a baby triceratops in the first 10 minutes.
Oh, it gets worse though. I'm sure if you watch the rest of it,
as it turns out, the least offensive interaction of animals in the entire movie.
But we'll get to that.
We should maybe put a warning up front that
totally.
there is animal abuse in this movie.
Completely.
So much so that it's like a section of the Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
Did they kill that one lizard for that scene?
It certainly looks like
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm sure they killed all of the lizards that they used in this movie.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Tumak kills the baby triceratops in a show of strength against this chihuahua-sized puppy dinosaur.
I believe it was a pig in a
Oh,
Triceratops
was it?
costume.
Oh, really?
I think so. That's what I read somewhere.
Okay. I thought it was just like a rubber inflatable. I mean, it was classic,
Well, there was
fighting
a
a
point
rubber
where it was
monster.
walking around, right? So I
Yeah.
think that's when it was a pig.
Okay. And while the fight's going on, an old man from the rock tribe falls off the cliff just from excitement, I think. And nobody gives a damn. He's there. If anyone's seen Midsummer, it's a bit like that. And so he's there. You think he's dead at first, but then he kind of very weakly tries to get up, and they all just ignore him. He's done for. He's not useful. He can't contribute to the hunt. They just cut him off. And so they take the Triceratops back to their cave, and they cook it. And then we get an insight into the kind of life of the rock tribe. This might is right. It's essentially kind of proto-fascist cave grouping, clearly kind of preying
so like
on
the social hierarchy.
Yeah, I mean,
social
obviously that
organization
was
of
on
it,
their
yeah.
mind. It's from 1940, so that's definitely
Yeah.
a big theme here. But interestingly, so Akoba, who's Tumac's dad, I think, and is the leader of the tribe, he kind of keeps everyone away from the cooked dinosaur, and he grabs some handfuls, and the first that are allowed to eat are the dogs. So the first food goes to the dogs. Then Akoba gets to eat first. Then the men on the hunt. Then last of all, the women and the kids.
Mm-hmm. And there's not much left.
And there's not much left. And Akoba even steals food from Tumac, his own son, who was the guy that hunted it. And so this leads to a fight. So Tumac hits Akoba, and they fight with their big sticks. And then Tumac essentially gets knocked out of the cave in the kind of classic trope that he's now banished. He is banished from the rock tribe. He has to go and make his own way. And as if he wasn't having a bad enough day, he then gets chased by a mammoth, this elephant in what looks like a very itchy polyester fur suit. And the mammoth chases Tumac up a tree, which is beside a cliff, which is beside a river, and then knocks over the tree so that Tumac falls into the river and floats away, sort of semi-conscious, down the river and far away from the rock tribe. And then we cut to a completely different group of people. Here we have the Shell tribe. We meet the girl, who we later learn is called Loana, played by Carol Landis, and she's fishing. So immediately we can see the difference. She's allowed to engage in kind of hunting activities. The background music, very 1940s, but is all kind of tinkly and nice compared to the kind of somber and thudding of the music that accompanies the rock tribe. And Loana sees Tumac floating down the river and is intrigued. So she blows her shell, which she has round her neck. She's of the Shell tribe. All the important members of this tribe have their own kind of conches for calling to each other with. And we also noticed for the first time that apart from the fishing spears, these Shell tribe people have hafted weapons. So they have lithic points attached by hafting to the end of their spears, which is another interesting thing. And so Loana calls for backup, and they kind of pick up Tumac, take him back to their cave. And there we see that the Shell tribe are totally different from the rock tribe. They share things peacefully amongst all. And the women get the first of the food that they've collected. So they hunt for fish. They have sort of proto-agriculture or gardening. So they have apples and carrots and very modern-looking vegetables that they can dig up out of their garden. And then Tumac wakes up and he's very confused. There's a cute little vignette where a baby bear cub steals some fruit from the Shell tribe people, and they're not too bothered. And they're all sharing the food, and they're all very happy and pleasant and nice. And then we cut back to the rock tribe again, and we see that Akoba is hunting these kind of mastodons or aurochs or whatever, the cows with big fake horns on. And he's hunting one, but he gets gored. And then, shock horror, his own kind of hubris comes back to haunt him when he gets abandoned by his tribe. So he's badly injured, but nobody gives a damn about him. And they kind of immediately elect a new leader of the rock tribe. Anyway, back to the Shell people. Tumac is impressed with the lithics that they make, the hafted spears that they've got. But oh no, an enormous T-Rex appears and frightens everybody. It's a guy in a very bad rubber suit that's only kind of shot from behind convenient vegetation to make it look more impressive than it is. And he kind of, everyone runs to the cave, and he kind of gets the T-Rex gets bored and runs away. And then we kind of learn a bit more about the Shell people. They're doing some gardening. Tumac collects some vegetables, but whereas everyone else is sharing them in a kind of big communal pile, Tumac doesn't want to share. So that's not good. Loana is a bit upset at him, but she takes him and introduces him to her dad, who is the kind of chief of the Shell tribe, and also the painter, carver, wise man that has done the cave paintings that this whole story is supposedly based on.
Mm.
And she's kind of really perturbed by Tumac's lack of manners. When they're sitting around the fire sharing the food, he doesn't share. He takes it instead of passing it on. He steals it from the guy sitting next to him, a little kid. That's not the Shell tribe way. So Loana is really annoyed, but continues sharing, showing how nice it is to share. And eventually, Tumac sort of learns the error of his ways and shares some of his food with Loana. And then this obviously works so well. They're so happy that he kind of goes and finds his hidden veg stash and puts that into the communal pile as well, which is nice. And then we learn that Loana actually isn't as free and single as she may have been suggesting to Tumac before. She actually has another suitor called Oteo. Is that his name? Something like that.
I think so. He didn't seem all that bothered, though.
No, he was very free love, and there's everyone can love everyone, and that's nice. But Owata can sing, and so can Loana. Loana starts singing in a very 1940s way. I thought this is very much, I can't really explain what 1940s singing is, but you'd know it if you heard it.
Like Snow White singing to the animals.
Exactly.
Yes.
That kind of very kind of crisp and harmonic sort of style of singing. Anyway, Tumac loves Loana singing, but he's not very keen when Oteo joins in and harmonizes with her, and essentially kind of puts his hand over Oteo's mouth to stop him. So yeah, that's another little kind of bit of conflict there. Back to the kind of gathering of the food, and they're all laughing. And then even Tumac starts to laugh, and it's clear from his previous life that he's not used to kind of laughter and jollity and frivolity.
It was so creepy. It was like watching Ted Bundy laugh. Like,
so... somebody that's not used to laughing.
The actor did a good job of he did a good job of acting like he didn't know what to do.
Yeah, so that's interesting. And then we see Loana's fishing again, and she sort of wants to let Tumac have a try, but he's absolutely rubbish. And not only is he rubbish, he's very petulant, and I mean, he's essentially he's an incel, really. He's there.
Yeah.
He's not immediately good at something, so he gives up, and he's like making it shit for everyone else, like hitting the water, scaring the fish away. He's not a good dude. Anyway, while this is coming on, the terrifying T-Rex comes back while there's a kid that's climbed the tree. Oh, I forgot to mention, the reason why everyone was laughing was because Tumac had the amazing idea of shaking the apple tree to get the hard-to-reach apples, which everyone found hilarious. And so one of the kids has climbed up the tree, and the T-Rex has come back, and now she's stuck up the tree with the T-Rex sniffing around. And Tumac's not really bothered. I mean, he's fairly self-centered. We've established that. He's too busy hitting the water with his stick and having a temper tantrum to be bothered about the T-Rex. But eventually he notices it and goes and hunts it. He steals Oteo's spear, his hafted spear, and goes and stabs the T-Rex to death completely. And everyone's really happy because the T-Rex is dead. So that's great. And the kid is safe. She comes down from the tree and everyone's happy. But then the next morning, Tumac decides to steal Oteo's spear. And Oteo's not really happy about this. He does it while he's sleeping, which is also pretty sneaky. But Oteo wakes up and he's not very happy. But Tumac essentially batters him and says, "No, it's mine now." And that's not good. So he's now battered Oteo. He's kind of knocked out cold. And Luana's dad, who's the chief of the tribe, essentially banishes Tumac from the Shell tribe. And then there's a kind of weird thing where Luana is trying to tell Tumac something. I don't know what. I don't know if she actually wants to go with him or not, but Tumac kind of kidnaps her, or she follows him. It's very unclear as to whether there's any agency on Luana's part in terms of her leaving the Shell tribe to go with Tumac. Anyway, they go off on a long journey. It looks like it's meant to take days, I think, in this direction. And they see some more dinosaurs, one of which is a kind of close-up of a monitor lizard. You hear wolf howling in the background. There's snakes, giant snakes. Luana's trying to find some apples to eat. Tumac takes some apples and doesn't give her any. And she's like, okay.
I have dated that guy before. That looked exactly like some guys I've dated.
Yeah, she needs to kick him to the curb, sister. He's not Mr. Right. He's not even Mr. Right now.
No.
He's just a bit of an asshole. But eventually he kind of deigns to like bend a branch down so that Luana can get herself an apple. And then we have a big dinosaur attack, which is where the snake kind of comes along, and then it's a giant coati, a coatimundi, so like a procyon, a kind of raccoon relative from South America, which are the most inoffensive, cute little trash pandas. But there's a close-up to make it look like this is a giant animal eating a snake, which it does. I mean, this is, I think, the first instance where like, oh my God, the Humane Society of America did not follow this film at all. So the snake gets eaten by the coati, so that's not good. And then their troubles aren't over because another dinosaur, which is essentially an armadillo with some rubber horns, starts chasing them.
Floppy horns that bend when it touches something.
They so obviously bend, it's hilarious. And most Americans, I would imagine, are quite familiar with armadillos, especially in the South. I mean, they're all over Texas and Arizona and New Mexico and places like that.
Yeah,
this is not. It's not like a coati, which is kind of mostly sort of Central and Southern American species. This is something that people would have been familiar with. It's just an armadillo with rubber horns, shown at large size, so it looks much bigger than it is. Anyway, so this chases them, and so they climb a tree, and so it's a case of Tumac and Luana up a tree, and then there's some KISSING. Yeah. The armadillo dinosaur just wanders off. It's not interested anymore. And they come down eventually, and then there's some more dinosaurs. So I think it's a caiman. It looks like a caiman rather than a gator or a crocodile, with a kind of rubber sail glued to its back. And a monitor lizard, a different kind of monitor lizard. They're having a big fight, and they're really fighting. I mean, it's two animals going at it, and I don't think the monitor lizard survives. It goes on for ages. It's really quite upsetting.
It's horrible.
Because the caiman's like trying to do a death roll on this monitor lizard and kind of flipping it over, and there's real blood, and it's not nice. And it's dubbed with sounds from puma snarlings and lions and bears and all these other kind of
and chimpanzees and elephants. It was
elephants. It sounds like a whole zoo.
It was like a DJ trying to like mix with animal sounds.
And so eventually, I mean, this goes on for ages, and then the monitor gets killed, and it's dead, and it looks like it's essentially bleeding from a jugular wound just on screen. It's it's pretty gross. And then so Luana kind of gets away, but we notice she's being watched by some members of the rock tribe who chase her, and she sees this and gives a toot on her shell. Does Tumac care? Well, he does enough to come back, kind of rescue her. He fights with the rock leader who gets stabbed and falls. So now Tumac's the new leader of the rock tribe, and they go back to their cave, the rock tribe cave, where they see that Akaba, his dad, is now old and lame from his kind of goring from the mastodon / aurochs. They don't like Luana. We noticed, I think this is the first time I noticed that all of the rock tribe are brunettes, whereas Luana is blonde.
Bingo.
Was it the same in the other movie too? It was dark tribe versus the
and they don't like Luana. Tumac is about to kill Akaba, his own dad, but Luana stops him. Tumac introduces Luana to his mother, and tells her that his father is the guy he was just about to kill. But then Loana brings some Shell Tribe knowledge to the Rock Tribe, and so they all sit around the fire, and she cuts food for all of them, particularly for Akaba, and she lets him eat first as the sickest member of the tribe. So she essentially introduced sharing to these people, and peaceful sharing with the kids and the women eating first, and making sure that everyone gets a fair amount. And then while this is going on, we have volcano eruption in the background. Oh no. It's a very cute kind of baking soda volcano in the background that starts erupting. And while this is happening, in the kind of confusion, a kid goes missing. And then there's earthquakes and cave collapses. Akaba gets squished. We see some dinosaurs, i.e. lizards, in close-up running away from the fire. And this is real fire and real lizards, so they're clearly in distress, which is not really pleasant to see. We kind of get some views of lava, which seems to be kind of mud on fire. It's quite a neat effect, and it looks like it's going to engulf the kid. And the kid's mother goes running after the kid, and then gets lavaed. The kid escapes. Loana saves them. We get lots of close-ups of the lizards and reptiles in really obvious distress at the fire. Tumak finds Loana's shoe because it fell off when she was rescuing the kid, and assumes she's been lavaed, but she isn't. Tumak is sad. This is pretty much the first human emotion we get to see Tumak having in the whole film. He's sad that he thinks Loana has been lavaed. And then we cut back to Otao tooting his horn. Tumak initially thinks it's Loana doing it, but it's the Shell Tribe. After this massive migration that Tumak and Loana have gone on, the Shell Tribe seem to be literally 5 minutes away, and they come to help with the rescue. And they see that the Rock Tribe now have hafted weapons, weirdly. So at the beginning, when we were seeing the Rock Tribe, they only had sticks, but now they've got a big cache of hafted weapons, which is just as well because they're now being menaced by an iguana dinosaur, which is kind of trapping them in their cave. But then this is the Shell people, I think, that have been trapped in the cave by the iguana dinosaur. But now the Rock Tribe appear immediately with their hafted weapons, and they kill the iguana with Tumak kind of stabbing it and helping to kind of destroy it. The iguana eats a guy, which is pretty cool. We get to see some dinosaur man-eating going on.
Looks like a G.I. Joe action figure in its mouth.
Yeah. But Tumak distracts the iguana enough that the rest of the Rock Tribe and some of the Shell Tribe can throw giant rocks on it, which kills it. And then we see that in the cave, there's Loana. So they get reunited. And we have a lovely, nice sing-song at the end where all the cave people sing, again in a very 1940s style. And then it's just the end. And that's it. I mean, yeah, it's a full house in terms of prehistoric film bingo. We've got everything, I think, can be traced pretty much back to this film, more or less.
Yeah. I think I actually enjoyed this one more than the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was pretty impressed by the special effects. I expected they were going to be worse than the remake because the remake has Ray Harryhausen's dinosaur animations, which we all agreed were like one of the only good things about the remake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the special effects in this one, I thought, despite just being lizards and mammals with spikes glued to their heads, I thought they looked really good for what they were. Like, it really felt most of the time like the people were there with these giant regular lizards.
I thought too. I thought it was yeah. If they hadn't hurt the animals, it would have been cute.
Yeah, I think I guess, sort of back projection or whatever it was they were using to make these tiny, cute animals look big and menacing worked really well for the time, and the actors did some good emoting, like in their presence, so that there was a feeling of kind of interaction, which is, you know, even with like modern CGI, is not always easy to get.
Even the volcano, which looked, you know, a little silly sometimes, like the lava was like some very wet mud that was on fire. But there's that scene where the child's mother is running and she gets totally covered in lava, which I know is just mud, but there's so much of it that I don't know how they filmed that, because it really looks like she gets covered in mud, and it would be super dangerous to be covered in that much mud. I don't know how they filmed that shot without literally putting her at a severe risk of drowning under the mud.
I think given the other kind of things we see in the film, I would not be surprised if that's how they did it, by putting her at extreme risk.
Sure.
Because there's not a lot of health and safety or even common sense, it seems, in the filming of this film.
But it's like like she's so small on the screen and there's so much mud. Like they would have had to have like a half a dozen dump trucks full of mud all released at the same time to get that much mud in the shot.
Yeah.
It happens so fast too. It's not a slow thing. Like she just goes, like she's gone quickly. I mean, I did watch it at 1.5 speed, but she was gone quickly. But like, could it have been a foam or something for that point?
I mean, they're pretty good at like cutting shots together to make it look like people are together with dinosaurs.
Yeah, the cutting of the film was pretty good. And certainly they had the experience with the kind of backlit projected lizards. They would have had to have some pretty good editing going on to make that look realistic. But I think what was weird is, seeing something as innocuous as a coati or a armadillo being the big bads, that just really kind of shook me, especially because these weren't unfamiliar animals.
Yeah.
Like quite a lot of Americans
herbivores
would know what these things were, when they could have gone, I don't know. Yeah, they could have maybe gone the giant insect route, or, snakes, more unfamiliar. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe they just had, like, 1940s Hollywood, some rich person had the menagerie and they're like, take whatever you want. Yeah, we should look up this actress that got smothered by mud. Look at her IMDb and see if her last movie was this one.
Died 1940.
Yeah.
Talking of actors, I read on the IMDb that Akaba, the leader of the Rock Tribe and Tumac's dad, was Lon Chaney Jr., which is pretty cool. So
who's that?
Lon Chaney Jr., Lon Chaney Sr. is the guy that was in Phantom of the Opera, The Wolf Man, all these kind of classic horror movies from the 1920s and 30s. And his son was also a kind of famous monster actor. I think he was in a remake of The Wolf Man and other ones too.
That's a cool legacy.
Yeah,
or
totally.
Nepotism, whichever way you want to spin it.
Yeah, potato.
An interesting term that I don't think I knew before this movie is slurposaur, which refers to when you use like a regular lizard as a stand-in for a dinosaur in a movie. Apparently that's called a slurposaur.
Oh, cool. Add it to your vocabulary today. Use it sporadically.
Yeah. You know what? I'll name my next foster cat that.
Does it also apply to mammals as well? Or is it just lizards?
I'm not certain about that. I don't know if there is a specific term for mammals.
It could be a slurpodon or a
slurpodon.
Slurpotherium.
Yeah, there you go.
I did feel sorry for that armadillo, though. It looked really cute.
I felt sorry for all of them. I mean, the armadillo I think it was just eating. I think the armadillo is probably one of the best treated, except for the horns. And then how are the horns on there? How is it coming off? Right?
Yeah.
Same with that the crocodile thing with the
sail
that looked like I couldn't see how they got that on either.
They probably stapled it, knowing these Hollywood types. Yeah, it's not cool. Did
we want to go through other bingo tropes?
I think we should, because this is the granddaddy.
The bingo is based on this, right? Yeah.
So we've got
the blonde lead.
Yeah.
Nonsense language.
Banishment. You've got very bad-mannered cave people who don't know how to share and like to fight. With dark hair for no reason.
And the peace-loving flower children.
Humans and dinosaurs together.
Humans and dinosaurs living together. Mass hysteria.
Yeah.
Volcano, yeah, that's a big one. Lava or magma, whatever you want to call it. I know there's a technical difference. Long journeys only in one direction. So we have Loana and Tumac going for what seems like days to reach the Rock Tribe cave, and then the Rock Tribe cave gets to the Shell cave in about 5 minutes.
Yeah. Female following falling in love with a completely horrible man that's
Yeah.
put in no effort to woo her whatsoever.
Yeah. There's lots of beards, but the main character is clean shaven and doesn't shave
Mhm.
over the course of like several months. And it seems like the rock people don't have lithic technology until later in the film. So how is he shaving?
Mm.
And he also appears to have shaved his chest as well.
Yes.
We have general time confusion and anachronisms because like I was watching the movie and I was doing the thing where like trying to figure out when this is supposed to be set, but it's in the title. I realized it's 1 million BC, but none of the things occurring in this movie would exist at 1 million BC.
No.
Maybe the mammoth.
Yes. And obviously,
Wait, how old are armadillos? They're pretty old, aren't they?
yeah, I mean, 1 million BC is essentially more or less a modern fauna. So you'd have had unhorned
Yeah.
armadillos. You'd have had regular-sized coaties, regular-sized caimans, regular-sized monitor lizards. Yeah,
But not modern humans.
but not modern humans. And there's not really any attempt made to caveman up these people apart from in their dress. Like, they're not given brow ridges or extra hair. In fact, Tumac got less hair than most moderns.
The rock tribe, some of them had giant unibrows.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah. A couple of the men did.
And the women?
The women did not, I don't think. But I noticed because the one of them, like the old man's, his kind of moved around. Like I think it got kind of crooked after a bit.
Okay.
Scantily clad clothes.
Yeah.
But they weren't the fur ones, though, right? So that's good.
Mm. Yeah, I thought it was quite racy for 1940. Carol Landis, a very attractive woman.
Yeah. Her little Bane suit thing was very attractive. Yeah.
Victor Mature, lots of pecs on display there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty rugged looking.
Yeah, it probably would have been a pretty sexy movie. But they didn't. This one didn't have that sex scene. The first one had like a insinuated sex scene, right?
Mm.
This one didn't.
We just had to use our imagination that what they got up to in the tree.
Yeah.
Fun fact on this one, the 1966 one is most famous for the fur bikini, but this one came out before the bikini was invented.
That's true, isn't it?
Which is 1946, I think.
Yeah. So they have kind of fur one pieces, essentially.
She's essentially wearing like Betty Rubble's or who's
Wilma.
Betty Rubble and Wilma. Yeah.
Is this before or after the Flintstones? That might be a good question.
It must be before. The Flintstones is the 60s, right?
Mm.
Yeah, 1960, the Flintstones. So yeah, maybe Betty and Wilma are based on Luana and the Shell Tribe.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On our list, we have a lot of like really old black and white silent movies, which I think we're going to probably do as an anthology sometime because a lot of them are like 10 or 20 minutes long. And so I'm sure this took some inspiration from those, but like in terms of modern feature-length movies, this might be the one that everything actually gets traced back to.
Yeah.
I don't know what more we can say that like was it essentially the same movie as the other one.
Yeah.
Right?
Pretty much. Slightly more tame than the Raquel Welch version.
Yeah.
We could maybe talk a bit about the guy in the T-Rex suit. That has to be the worst.
Bad.
The worst dinosaur we've seen, possibly.
Yeah, it was good, but it was so bad it was good. But I mean, it's enjoyable when they just lean into it, right? Again, if it wasn't for the animals getting hurt, it would have all just been super enjoyable.
Yeah,
it was like the T-Rex thing almost looked like a like a college student movie type thing. Like, how can we put this together?
Yeah,
with like no budget.
Totally, it's like
within a semester.
1940s rubber, which looks really, really uncomfortable and doesn't move in a way like anything living would.
Like it even made that plesiosaur in that other movie look good, right?
Yeah. I wonder how far back we can trace just have everything living together. So dinosaurs, humans. I mean, can we cut them some slack? Because this is before radiocarbon dating, so. This is before we have absolute ages for lots of things. I don't think we can give them any slack for that either. People knew that dinosaurs were in the millions of years rather than thousands
dating.
of years.
Yeah.
So they don't get any slack for that.
No.
There is something that features in this one, which is the conch shell horn.
Can you actually blow a conch shell and make a noise like that?
Yeah.
Well, I can't, but it can be done. But there's a paper from 2021 reassessing a conch shell from some site that had been excavated a long time ago, and they reinterpreted this conch shell, which had a hole strategically placed in it, as a horn, and it is Upper Paleolithic. I think that it said it was 16,000 years old, something like that.
Interesting.
I wouldn't be surprised because we've got, other evidence of musical instruments from that time period, like bone flutes, or at least that old as well, from Germany, made from bird wing bone and other mammal bones as well.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to look at. I guess it'd be hard to look for when humans were able to sing. Certainly, there's a lot more singing in this film than I thought it would have.
I mean, hypothetically, as long as we've had the modern vocal cord, we could, right? So they did that test on the Neanderthals and found that Neanderthals did not have the same range of vocalization that we have. So singing well might be a uniquely human trait within hominins. I don't know do monkeys sing well? But then that's so subjective.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Birds have a different vocal range, but they can sing well.
Birds do sing well. I agree. They're pretty good at it. They're known for their singing.
Yeah. Just laughing at it. All we heard from Josh was just birds.
Birds.
Yeah, and that's it. Is there such a thing as objectively good in terms of singing? I think we could probably all agree that some birds have nice songs and some birds don't. Like, no one's going to give a kookaburra a prize, but they might give a nightingale or a blackcap.
But even then, so if humans judge it to be good, that doesn't necessarily mean that another species is going to judge it.
What would a kookaburra
good,
think
right?
of humans singing?
So there's interspecies, intertaxon subjectivity.
Yeah.
And to what's good singing. I was half expecting for another just turtle.
I got my whole thing on my end, so I can just edit it together.
But yeah, I don't know why I enjoyed this movie more than the other one. I think maybe because the other one was just trying so hard to kind of be sexy and risque, and it just felt like it was trying harder to be something different. Whereas this one was just like a goofy caveman story.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember. Did the other one, it didn't have the crazy alpine rock climbers as a prologue, did it?
No, I don't think so. I think it just started.
Yeah.
But they didn't even go back to the alpine. No. They didn't go back to them. It didn't go back and clear up the story. And they're like, oh, thank you, crazy man in the cave, for telling us this nice story. We're going to continue on our hike, right?
We never know if they ever leave the cave or if
the guy
at the desk
or why
told them the story and then ate them.
I'm sorry, but if you were on a hike and you walked into a cave and there was a guy with a desk and a lamp and everything, and his eyes looked like that at you, you'd be like, we just got to go, actually. Lots of people are expecting us very soon. And they'll notice if we're missing. But I think also that's how people think academics are.
Yeah. Just crazy in a cave. I mean, it's not bad. I can think of worse places to work.
Yeah. I mean, you had electricity set up. I've worked in worse places.
Mm-hmm. No teaching, apart from those random alpinists.
Do we want to maybe wrap this one up and make it short? Our last episode was almost an hour and 45 minutes, so we can make a short one, I think.
I think
but that one had Andrew. Those are always a little bit more.
We had the one you missed last time, Kim, with the guy from the other podcast.
Sorry, I was unconscious.
Okay, one of you say something to wrap this up in case I freeze again.
That's a lot of pressure.
On you go, Kim.
Dance, monkey. I don't know, something smart and witty. Insert here.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Like and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook, even though I post nothing.
Yeah, move to Blue Sky. That's where all the cool kids are. Maybe that's what we should say.
Follow us on Blue Sky. Blue Sky is really picking up because they have all these starter packs, and we got on to at least one or two of them. So we have way more followers on Blue Sky than we have had on any of our other social media.
And so far, it seems to be a much better experience than Twitter. I mean, it's a lot less negative and a lot more collegiate, which is nice.
Well, so everything starts, so.
Yeah.
And then it just.
Yeah. But I've stopped Twitter now because I'm just so annoyed at Musk and all of his arsehole pals.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Also, are we still doing that thing where if you find a mistake, send in, you get a t-shirt?
I guess so, but then I'm going to have to contend with all the Graham Hancock fanboys telling me, oh, you guys are stupid. You got it all wrong. I want a t-shirt now.
Okay. It has to be non-Hancock related.
Yeah. That one's off limits.
Episodes. Yeah. If you find something wrong in that one, you can just go and suck an egg.
Okay, what do we think about this movie? Is it worth watching?
If the only thing I didn't like, I didn't like it, but the only thing I didn't like about it was the animal cruelty. Other than that, it was not the worst movie we've watched, and it was, cute in that it was the first one, and it was cute.
Yeah.
And then the guy being a complete asshole and the girl just falling in love with him and following him around.
Yeah. It's very much a time capsule of, I guess, 1940s ideas about civilization and ethical conduct and stuff, which is interesting. But definitely don't watch it if you're at all squeamish about animal cruelty, because it is quite horrible.
It was hard to watch. And it would probably be a good thing for people who are into movie history to watch too, how they made it and all that.
If you've been enjoying Screens of the Stone Age, get in touch with us. Follow us on Twitter at SOTSA_podcast and on Facebook at SOTSA podcast, or send us an email to screensofthestoneage@gmail.com. Screens of the Stone Age is supported by the Paleoanthropological Society of Canada. Find out more at pasc-scpa.ca.
Interesting point, Josh.
I totally disagree with whatever it is that I can't hear you saying.